And Vlada, are you here?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I can start, yes, playing your presentation, and you can add anything you want. Just 3 minutes. They are
Yeah.
yours. Let's start. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I would like to present our research. We've chosen the topic which puzzled us. Sorry, Natalia, can you go back to the previous slide? The apparent paradox is that students majoring in English openly admit they are not, in fact, avid readers. The next slide, please.
Wow. Sorry. Yeah. Mm, just, yeah, what I did. Ah,
Okay.
so we want this one, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I've just mentioned, that we've chosen the topic which we were a little bit confused with. So our big picture finding, next slide, please.
Mm-hmm.
Across the essay, our students made one thing clear. Reading for pleasure isn't about language. It's shaped by a combination of key factors. Next slide, please. The first and important, the most important significant factor is personal interest and emotional connection. The next one. Freedom of choice versus obligation. Next. The third key factor is genre and text type matters a lot. Next. Language difficulty. That was a pretty open eye experience for us, because pleasure emerged when meaning could be guessed, flow was possible, and understanding felt achievable. So students didn't ask us for easy texts. They asked us for interesting, engaging texts. The next one. The fifth key factor is immersion and flow. They are really into page turners. Next, please. They are joy killer is pressure to understand details, so students do not like to be overwhelmed with deep analysis. And the next one. Yeah, and here, as you can see, the hierarchy of reading motivation, which is put into this slide. Go on, please. After our overarching pattern emerged here, and we clearly see that reading for pleasure is defined by alignment, not simplicity. When reading is chosen and interesting, students read with joy. When it is assigned difficult or irrelevant, it becomes a chore. Next slide.
Okay. No slide. I think that is the tester of our research, because we limited, yes, our 3 minutes done for this. So Lada, you will get chance to talk about, yes, about how you researched and how what we found out in the end of our session. And I hope that the problem was clearly set, why we wanted to research it. Our next presenter is Olena Chukno. And Olena, you are
Right.
here?
Yeah, I am.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So yeah,
And
that's right. Okay. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Today I'd like to present the findings of the research, how to deal with the burden of marking and feedback in university LT methodology courses. It was conducted together with my colleague Valentina Sitnikova. So in such courses, feedback plays a central role in supporting students' professional development. These courses typically involve higher-order thinking tasks, for example, lesson planning and materials design. So feedback is mostly qualitative, individualized, and highly time-consuming. consuming, and this creates a significant marking burden for university teachers. So we consider three solutions to this problem: peer feedback, self-assessment, and collaborative assignment. The next slide. And before implementing changes, we explored two important issues, like what feedback practices are the teachers using, and how do our students perceive the feedback they receive. The next one, please. The exploratory stage revealed that many teachers combine oral and written feedback to balance efficiency and quality. However, written feedback remains extremely time-consuming, even when supported by AI tools. And peer and self-assessment are often used, but teachers still provide additional comments to ensure consistency. The next, please. As for students, they value teacher feedback for its honesty, objectivity, expertise, and thoroughness. Peer feedback for generating positive emotions, strengthening group cohesion, offering multiple perspectives, and self-evaluation was associated with autonomy and self-awareness. However, some students perceived peer feedback as lacking objectivity or being too positive, and others reported difficulty noticing their own mistakes during self-assessment. The next, please. Although most students acted on teacher feedback, only 47% on self-evaluation before the intervention and 76% acted on peer feedback. Some even questioned the usefulness and reliability of peer comments. The next slide. Students also pointed out that they wanted a better balance of feedback types, and they emphasized the need for feedback to be more regular. So these findings led us to develop an action plan. The next slide. To diversify feedback, to involve students more actively through structured peer and self-assessment with clear rubrics and training, and to encourage students to act on feedback by using formative assessment, clarifying objectives, and requiring revision before final submission. So the next slide. The results were encouraging. The average marking time per assignment decreased from 10 minutes to 6 minutes. However, nearly half of the students still experience emotional discomfort when given criticism or difficulty evaluating their own work objectively. So in conclusion, I would like to say that the exploratory stage revealed important nuances. For example, students value different types of feedback for different purposes, and they also need to feel that their work is valued. Overall, the next slide, involving students more actively in feedback reduced the marking burden and improved their feedback experience, even though emotional and evaluative challenges remain. Thank you for your attention. That's it.
Thank you very much. So that were our 3 minutes per mentee. Short glance at Ukrainian context of higher education and how we research our context. Our third mentees unfortunately couldn't make it today. So the link on their research and video recording would be in the program, and you are welcome to watch whenever you want. And of course, any questions you want to ask us, we will be happy to do it in the end of the session. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Natalia, and thank you, Lada and Odina, for your presentations as well. So we have now about 15-20 minutes for discussion, yes, on these two presentations. So you may feel free to ask Olina and Lada questions or make comments on their topics and their research. Maybe if I may start.
Question, Ruben. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's go
for
ahead.
it.
You were talking about, the last presenter was talking about feedback, and I was wondering whether you have introduced or you've looked at dialogic feedback. I mean, feedback, people sitting together and talking about what they've done, what the production is, or is it just a comment and you send the comment and the student just sees the comment and that's it? Is there some kind of dialogue between the teacher and the student?
Yeah, thank you so much. We mainly focused on written feedback, so in terms of teacher feedback, yeah, we just commented on students' work and uploaded that on our LMS, yes, and they had the chance to read it through. And as for peer feedback, our students had the chance to meet in a separate Zoom conference, so out of classroom, and they provided feedback to one another. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for both Lara and Olena, what have you found interesting, attractive, let's say, or what caught your attention the most during the process of researching? Yes, even when planning, when implementing the research, and so on.
Thank you for this question. So at first I doubted, I just questioned the expediency of this exploratory stage. I thought that, well, do we need to conduct the exploratory stage if it is clear that I need to organize collaborative work and peer feedback, in order to decrease the amount of time that I myself spent on giving feedback. And what I found out was quite surprising, because actually students value all types of feedback: teacher feedback, peer feedback, and self-evaluation, for different reasons, not just for expertise. Yeah, they value teachers' feedback for their expertise. And as for peer feedback, so they value peer feedback for multiple perspectives. And they also mentioned that they like feedback on the design of their work, not just the contents of their work, but the design. So probably their peers are more tech savvy, and that is why they can give some recommendations how to create a proper layout for their work. And as for self-evaluation, so they mentioned that it helped them grow personally, right? Not in terms of expertise, but grow personally. And I also found out that a lot of students actually are afraid of giving feedback to one another. They're afraid of spoiling this rapport in the group. They're afraid that it will affect the relationships inside the group, and that is why they are sometimes unwilling and reluctant to provide this objective feedback. So they are too positive in providing feedback to one another. And we dealt with that by introducing some criteria. They followed the criteria, and it increased the objectivity of peer feedback. So that was several points that we found out that were quite surprising. We took that into account while implementing the changes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lina, for your answer. And Dinar has raised her hand. Yes, so Dinar, if you want to ask the question, go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Alina, for such a nice presentation. Thank you for giving me a chance to ask a question. I'm just trying to understand that you mentioned that the average time to give the feedback per person reduced from 10 minutes to 6 minutes. What was the process? I'm just trying to understand. Was it the same assignment where you were giving the feedback and you realized that the time got reduced, or was it because you had divided the assignments, or what was the process that made you come to the conclusion that the average time reduced?
Yeah, so I had this teacher journal where I took notes, of the amount of time it usually takes me to provide teacher feedback to students. And so before the intervention, I assessed 5 different assignments of my students, which were creative. Yeah, they demanded the high order thinking skills and without automatic feedback. So I needed to provide my personal, specific feedback. And before the intervention, it took me on average, so it took me 10 minutes per one assignment per student. That is too much, and that is is not included in my official workload. So I spend just hours on providing feedback to my students before the intervention. And after that, since we introduced this peer feedback, I didn't need to provide feedback myself, to my students. And sometimes, they also conducted this self-evaluation evaluation. And again, I didn't need to provide specific feedback to every single student. And again, I just analyzed the amount of time spent on feedback during the intervention for 5 assignments, and the average amount just decreased to 6 minutes. Again, I can't see any chance to decrease even more, because teachers still, methodology teachers still need to give feedback all the time, because again, students require our skills, advice, recommendations. So we can't replace teacher feedback with peer feedback in all the cases. Yeah, that is what I did. So teacher journal helped me to identify the amount of time before the intervention and during the intervention. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Elena, once again. There are questions, hands raised, Seden, so you may go, and then there are some questions in the chat as well that I will read later on.
Thank you so much, Ruben, and thank you to the presenters. I would like to ask a question to Lada, and it's going to be a general question, actually. What did you learn from your students, or did you learn anything from your students during the inquiry?
Yeah, I actually have learned a lot, because our assumptions as teachers that our students are lazy, our students are not interested in literature, our students are labeled in all different ways, actually these are false assumptions, and our exploratory stage reveals quite the opposite. And we are more of that. Our lesson observations showed us that we are not quite right as teachers, because sometimes we just can't base our approaches and design our lessons on these approaches, on these assumptions, doesn't meet students' interest and students' needs. And actually, that was an eye-opening experience, because the first takeaway is we need, before come to some assumptions, we need to check them if it is really true. And our surveys and communication with students help us to understand this and to revisit our assumptions, first of all. And the second one, our lesson observations could give us an opportunity to revise our own methods, and to see that sometimes we look like a bit of dinosaurs, and probably we need to start changing from ourselves, our own approaches. That's what we did successfully during the intervention stage, and the result was more than satisfying. Thank you for the question.
Excellent. I think your learnings are very similar to mine, that keeps all the time serve as eye-opening, all the time eye-opening realizations. Thank you so much for your answer.
Thank you for the good question.
Okay. So, well, we can move on to Rima now, who has a question as well.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing your research. That was interesting to follow. I have a question to Olena Chukhno. I want to know what was your limitation of your research, and also what pedagogical implications does your study suggest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as for the limitations, so we started this research at the beginning of November, so we didn't have much time left till the end of the semester, and that is why. So I would say that the number of sessions that we conducted might have made this research not as reliable, as I would like it to be. So we can check that by conducting using the same methods this term and conducting the questionnaires observations again. And as for the pedagogical implications, I would say that again we need to deal with these assumptions that our student teachers are not ready to provide feedback to one another on some, for example, materials they develop. We might assume as teacher educators that they can lack expertise to do that. They may not know how to do that, but at the same time, I can say that if we provide them with clear rubrics and criteria, and if I walk them through all the criteria before they provide peer feedback or they evaluate their work themselves, so it might help them a lot. And our research proved that fact. So as teacher educators, we shouldn't be afraid to give our student teachers a chance to give feedback on some lessons they create, lessons they conduct. So we need to give them more responsibility for their own learning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the question and for the answer as well. Right. Okay, there is a question in the chat by Shune. How do we promote the students' involvement in the process of feedback? Is this talking about English language learners? If so, do you think the level of the students will have an impact on the ability of self-assessment?
Certainly it will. And again, we shouldn't just ask them to provide feedback without any scaffolding. We give them some scaffolding, like rubrics and criteria. So at the end of the rubrics are always mentioned that, so if you doubt that your work was evaluated incorrectly, so you can always address the teacher, me, and we will clarify everything. So it means that they had a chance to receive comments from the teacher as well, not only from their peers, if they wanted. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. And there is a question for both Alina and Lada by Pitsambar about asking about the methods that you applied in your research.
I would say that my mentors, our mentors, were guided angels. We definitely couldn't survive without their help. We were exploded with our ideas. We've got lots of, we'd like to bite of more than we can chew. And we needed a person who would navigate, who would narrow down our choices, who would navigate us through this, or I don't know, jungle of questions, and just support us with clear-cut guidelines how to go through this experience without being burning out.
Yeah, I agree with Lada, and I would say that our mentors helped us to choose our tools. We didn't start. Me personally, I didn't start with a questionnaire, but with the reflective writing, and that was some recommendation from the mentor. So reflective writing of my students helped me to create the questionnaire for them a bit later. I'm not sure whether the question was about our mentors or methods. So if we speak about methods, then so the tools that we use are questionnaires, reflective writing, and observation. And the research, I would say both studies were student-centered because, we focused on what our students think. We we assumed, we made some assumptions at the beginning of our studies, but actually we found out that they didn't correspond to the reality afterwards. I hope Lada agrees with me.
Yeah, I agree, completely agree. And I would like to point out one more important thing, that sometimes when you live with your ideas alone, sometimes you need just a pair of ears to share your ideas, to just when you voice your ideas, when you let them out of your mouth, you understand more about yourself, about your students, and this way of mentoring, not teaching, not jumping into ready-made solutions, is very important. And it, unfortunately, it contradicts our national Ukrainian cultural context, because we are, unfortunately, even today, we tend to be a sage on the stage rather than a guide on the side, and we need to redesign ourselves as teachers. And this program really helps us to do this, to make this, to take this first step in order to reshape ourselves as teachers. Because, you know, we all have this background of 30-something years of teaching. And it was crucial for us to understand that we need to change ourselves.
Okay, well, thank you, Alina, for your presentation, Lada, for your presentation as well, and Natalia, congratulations on mentoring these teachers. Yes, and I would like to end this moment of the session with positive comments on both presentations. Yes, so nice presentations. I love the presentation. So congratulations. All right. Okay. Well, now we will have, I don't know if it is necessary, a 5-minute break, or if we
no, that's okay, Ruben. We can continue.
Okay,
Yes,
right.
yes.
So we move on to session 1B. Yes, with teachers from Turkey and the Sub-Saharan Africa, mentored by Seden Tuyan. And so Seden, you have the floor to present your 4 mentees. Yes, and we are all looking forward to listening to them. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Ruben. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us here in this session today. I am Seden Tuyan, and I'm very pleased to mentor this group of teacher researchers for this session. And the 4 presenters you will hear from today are engaged in exploratory action research, investigating puzzles emerging directly from their own teaching context. Their work reflects a shared commitment to understanding their classroom challenges through systematic reflection, student voice, and small-scale inquiry. I will briefly introduce each presenter before they give their 3-minute overview of their work. Our first presenter is Zeki Kaloğlu. He is an MA student in English language teaching at Çağ University. His exploratory action research investigates how constructive feedback can support students' speaking development. Drawing on his classroom recordings, reflective journals, and AI-supported practice activities, Zeki explores how targeted feedback on recurring errors can help learners improve their speaking performance and develop greater awareness on their own learning processes. Now the screen is all yours, Zeki. I will, just a minute, I will share the screen. Okay. Can you all see the screen? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Zeki, you may start.
Greetings, everyone. I would like to share a small classroom journey that began with a challenge that many of us encounter. Students struggling with speaking tasks, both during classroom practice and informal exams. As an educator, I couldn't simply observe this pattern and move on. I wanted to understand what was preventing my students from developing confidence in speaking. So I set myself a goal to identify the factors that was affecting their speaking development and explore ways to support them. To address this, I provided students with several opportunities for practice and feedback. These included classroom speaking activities, individual sessions, targeted worksheets, and access to AI chatbot that allowed them to practice outside the classroom. My research focused on three main questions. First, how do students perceive personalized feedback? Secondly, how does their speaking performance change after receiving that feedback? And lastly, how do they actually use that feedback when completing the follow-up speaking tasks? To gather data, I used multiple resources. I kept a teaching journal, recorded classroom sessions, collected written and recorded feedback from students, analyzed their speaking exam results, and incorporated peer observations. This combination allowed me to develop a clearer and more balanced understanding of what was happening in the learning process. For the analysis, I used both qualitative and quantitative methods, with primary focus on content analysis. This helped me to explore not only what students were doing differently, but also how they were thinking and feeling about the feedback they received. The results were both encouraging and insightful because students who engaged with all three forms of personalized constructive feedback show noticeable improvement in their speaking exam results. Just as importantly, many students reported feeling more comfortable and confident during the exam. They described the exam experience as familiar and similar to the practice environment, which helped them to reduce their anxiety. However, the most significant finding was the impact of personalization. When the feedback aligned with the students' individual learning styles and needs, it became more than a simple form of correction. It became a powerful tool to empower them so their voices can be heard through their peers, teachers, and by others. Students felt supported, understood, and more willing to take risks when speaking. So, what does this mean for us educators? It reminds us that effective feedback should not be one size fits at all. Our teaching strategies should remain flexible, responsive, and open to opportunities offered by new tools such as AI and technologies. When feedback is adaptive and personal, it becomes a powerful tool for learning. The matter important matter is to utilize it effectively. In conclusion, this experience reinforced a belief that I strongly hold. Students thrive when we teach the learner not just a subject, but when we personalize the feedback and we do more than improve speaking skills. We help students to believe themselves. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Zeki, for your very inspiring presentation. I'll stop sharing my screen. Our next presenter is Mohammed Shahin. He is also an MA student at Chai University in English Language Teaching Department. He conducted his research in the English Preparatory program at IATEFL University. His study addresses a common classroom challenge, participation inequality during group work, where some learners dominate interaction while others remain silent. Through structured scaffolding strategies such as assigned group roles and sentence structures, Muhammad explores ways to encourage more equitable participation and build students' confidence in collaborative learning tasks. Muhammad, the screen is all yours. I will share your poster.
Okay.
Where is it? Where is it? Let me share the screen, and it was here. Sorry, this is a different kind of. Okay. It's on the screen, right, Mohammed? You may start. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Mohammed. I'm presenting my exploratory action research on participation differences in IATEFL group work conducted with prep students at a university in Turkey. Group work is widely used in communicative language classrooms, but participation is often uneven. In many classrooms, a few students dominate discussions while others remain silent. In my classroom, I observed similar patterns. Some students participated actively, but others avoided speaking during group activities. This hesitation seemed to be related factors such as low confidence, language anxiety, and limited linguistic resources. The purpose of this research was to investigate participation differences during group work and to explore whether structured classroom support could encourage more balanced interaction. This study involved 50 prep level students. To understand participation patterns, I collected data using an observation checklist, field notes, and student reflection survey focusing on students' confidence during group discussions. This study followed a short 2-week action research cycle. First, I observed participation patterns and identified dominant and silent students during group work. Then I introduced two strategies to support participation. After implementing strategies, participation became more balanced. Quieter students were more willing to contribute, and sentence starters helped them reduce hesitation when expressing ideas. Students' reflections also suggested that confidence played an important role in participation. Overall, this experience showed me that participation problems are not always related to motivation. Sometimes students simply need structured guidance and linguistic support to feel comfortable speaking. In conclusion, simple strategies such as assigning group roles and providing sentence starters can help create more inclusive and collaborative IATEFL classrooms. Thank you for listening. I would be happy to answer any questions.
Excellent, Mohammed. Thank you very much for this nice presentation. Okay, I will stop sharing. Our third presenter is from the Sub-Saharan context. It was my pleasure to mentor them, actually, Brenda and Salome. Brenda, are you here? Brenda?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Brenda, I will shortly introduce you. Brenda teaches advanced secondary students in a private school on the outskirts of Yaoundé, Cameroon. Her research emerged from concerns about students' use of prepared materials during examinations. Brenda's exploratory study seeks to understand why some students rely on these materials and how they themselves interpret this practice in relation to exam pressure. Just a minute, Mohammed used the timing very well. In relation to exam pressure, learning expectations, and assessment culture, her work places particular emphasis on student perspectives and the broader dynamics of exam behavior in secondary education context. Brenda, the screen is yours. I will share your poster. Go on. You have 3 minutes, Brenda. I think you're on mute.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Seden. Hello, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. Okay, I am Gumito Brenda. I do teach English and literature in a private secondary school here in Cameroon, Yaoundé. My topic is exploring effective strategies to reduce students' reliance on prepared materials during examination. So I'm working with 22 12th grade students of the art section in a private bilingual high school on the outskirts of Yaoundé, the capital city of Cameroon. The incident which motivated me was during the December pre-mock, where some 12th grade students were using prepared materials during the examination. So in this research, we set out to investigate what causes the students to use prepared materials, what are the effects on the exam behavior as well as learning in general. And for the third, we are set to look out of effective strategies that will help reduce students' reliance on prepared materials during examination. So to be able to attain this objective, we further rephrase them into answerable questions, which were what are the causes of students' reliance on prepared materials, what are the effects on exam behavior and learning, and what strategies can help to reduce this challenge. For methodology, we adopted a qualitative study in which guided discussion were conducted and open-ended questions were administered to the students to get their views. As for results, we discovered that students fear to fail. That is, the fear of failure causes students to get involved in such malpractices. Exam pressure, that is both from teachers and parents. Also, poor study habit push them to do it, and low confidence, the lack of confidence in themselves. As effect, it reduces real understanding and motivation to learn in both students, that is those who even try to study and those who use the prepared materials. As a way forward, teaching the students effective study skills as well as using diverse assessment methods like open book tests and practice-based tasks can help to reduce the practice. So in summary, after looking at the root causes and effects of this exam malpractice and adopting the way forward will help to promote academic integrity, genuine learning, as well as a support from the punitive measures to preventive measures. I would like to end here, but before I do, I am open to questions, contributions, and further discussion about this work. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Brenda. Excellent timing again for this very interesting presentation. Of course, we will answer the questions after the session finishes. Okay, our final presenter is Salome Ikokoyo. We also call her Sally Dixon. Sally, are you here with us?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Hi, Sally. Hi, Salome. Okay. I will share your screen, but just let me introduce you very shortly. She is Salome. She teaches in a rural senior secondary school in Nigeria. She works with a large mixed ability class of approximately 60 students. Her inquiry focuses on narrative writing and figurative language, particularly the challenge students face when integrating idioms and proverbs meaningfully into their stories. In her exploratory study, Sally experiments with AI-generated visual memes as prompts for meaning making, investigating how visual representations may support students' interpretation and creative use of idioms in narrative writing. Okay, Sally, the screen will be yours. I will share your poster. Just a minute, let me share the screen. It was open. Just a minute. I'm so sorry. Let me just. You see Brenda's.
Yes, and this is
Yeah. I will change it. Something happened. Let me. I'll stop sharing. Where is it? It was open.
Do you want me to? I can try.
No. No, it's all there. I'm going to open it very shortly. It's there. I was ready, Ruben. Okay, now you can see.
You are always
Okay.
ready. You
Sorry
are
for
always
the delay.
ready.
Okay, so the screen is all yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'd just like to take briefly the background of this research. I discovered my students had challenges writing narrative essays. The challenge was not being able to develop stories, narrative essays from idiomatic expressions that are given to them in external exams. So because they're in final year, it is necessary for me to groom them to be able to write the exams coming up next month. So I tried using this AI generated memes for idioms and checked with them, and I saw that it helped them. So I decided to do this research and see why it is working. But unfortunately, it didn't work out the way I had thought it would, because out of the 60 students that I initially planned to work with, we had some challenges. So in the end, I worked with just 15 students. And during this process, I had I discovered some things. So I'll talk about my findings. 7 out of these groups struggled with idiom comprehension despite the visual memes I was using. And 6 students out of this group couldn't construct narratives around these idioms, even when I presented them with these memes, which seemed to have helped at the beginning. 3 students demonstrated full competence in understanding and application of these memes. They were able to generate stories on their own just looking at the memes. So I discovered that visual memes worked better with familiar idioms than unfamiliar ones. And the initial improvement declined as the idiom's familiarity became or decreased. So 10 out of the students explicitly requested I guide them, I give them guided support using topic sentences, story frames, and any other thing that could help them write these narrative essays. What surprised me in this research is that I assumed the problem was just integration, but it turned out that it was differentiated. There were differentiated issues. One was comprehension, another was narrative construction ability, and prior exposure. Then the memes alone didn't guarantee understanding, especially with unfamiliar idioms. Understanding an idiom plus being able to use it in a story. These were different challenges that I discovered through this research. So I decided that the next steps for me would be to provide differentiated scaffolds based on the identified issues of the different groups. One group, I'll give them memes plus explicit meaning discussion, contextual sentences, anything that could help them. Then the second group, I'll just give them narrative frames and topic sentences. And the third group that needs little help, I'll give them open-ended creative challenges to develop. Thank you for listening.
Excellent timing, Salome. Okay, these are the 4 presentations in our group. Thank you very much, dear presenters, for your thoughtful inquiries. Okay, over to you, Ruben.
Okay, well, thank you, Seden, and thanks to all the teachers for their interesting presentations. Well done again, right? Well, we have now about 20 minutes for question and answers or comments. I see that Al-Haji Alpha has raised a hand, so maybe you want to ask a question. No, maybe not. It was from before. Yeah. Okay. Rina, you have one. Yes. So go ahead.
Thank you so much. So interesting research we observed here. And I have a question for the last speaker, Salome. That was interesting to know about your research, and it's very important in our ELT classroom. I want to ask what was the combination of semiotic modes that you used to encourage multimodality in your research?
Sorry, could you repeat your question?
You shared with us about visual memes to make our students understand about the idioms. And I wonder, in your material that you shared with your students to understand the idiom, what are the combinations of the semiotic modes of multimodality you used?
Okay, I'm not sure I understand what semiotic modes really means in this context, but what I did was generate memes. I did the literal meaning of the idioms. For instance, if I'm saying kick the bucket, I generate a meme that has two parts, the literal meaning and the figurative meaning. So I hoped that it will help them understand that this is not a literal expression, but a figurative expression. So the idea that the memes create, the pictures that it gives to them, I expected it to assist them with thinking, generating ideas for their stories, because in the senior secondary examination, one of the questions that they are required to respond to is write a story that illustrates, and then they give you an idiom. And sometimes they could say, write a story that illustrates and ends with the saying, and they give you an idiom. So if the child doesn't understand the idiom, it becomes very difficult to generate ideas for such a story. So I used the literal meaning to show them that this is what it means literally, but that's not what is required of you in a question like this. It requires you to apply the figurative meaning to it. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Okay, so thank you so much. I have a suggestion for you. In your literature review, maybe you can touch about multimodality. Now I understand that you used the combination of linguistic and visual semiotic modes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ella, you have a question, I think. Yes.
Hello, everyone. Congratulations to all the presenters. Interesting stories, and to the mentor who also guided and made it possible. A question to Zaki? Yeah, right. Sorry for if I mispronounce your name. Well, I have been here in this room for both sessions. So the issue of feedback to our students seems to be really important. Yes, the previous presenter from Ukraine also mentioned her research also related feedback. So Zaki, your research title is about enhancing. So when you said enhancing, did you mean that you observed after the research your students started to speak more eagerly, more fluently, more accurately? So what was the uptake on the feedback that you provided? How you followed that? Yes, the feedback was successful because the speaking skills got enhanced. And in what way did they start speaking more or more accurately or more eagerly? So what is your observation? Yeah, thank you.
Thing is, with like in the first sessions in my previous lessons in last year, when I was working with my preparatory students, in the exams they were trying to give short answers because they want to be done with the exam and they want to make it sure that they get good grades by saying the correct answer. And I noticed that it was a problem, and I wanted to improve their speaking performances. And to be honest, I didn't know what to do. I read a lot of articles starting from Schmidt's noticing theory to the Highlands corrective feedback, work on corrective feedback. And I had limited time, like for 2 weeks. I wanted to improve their speaking performances. In order to do so, I needed to pinpoint the problem. Like I knew that there were vocabulary problems, grammar issues, and such, and students didn't want to, interact. They just wanted to give the answer and be done with it. In order to do so, I wanted to enforce, not enforce, I shouldn't be the word, but foster the speaking performances. And I used AI. Like after we were done with the school hours, after class, we gathered together and we went through the questions one by one. But in order to, I wanted to disable memorization, not allow. I used synonyms and different sentence structures to, make students understand my questions. And I also transcribed, used chatbot logs to track them and extract quotes through them. And not all of the students, of course, it wasn't effective for all the students, but for most of the students, their answers improved. Like they started to do less grammar mistakes, improve their vocabulary, use different forms of vocabulary, and also elaborate more. And I also, by the end of the exam, we have been on the B1 plus level for the midterm and final exams, speaking exams. So it allowed me to track and compare the results. So I used SPSS to compare their Z scores by doing independent tests. And I noticed that there were some improvements on the students. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Zaki. You mentioned because, right, if you are the teacher who teach your students and you are the teacher who then assess, you mean that through the formal exam, of course, you mentioned the difference, avoid memorization. So students, as I understood, they started to improvise more while speaking. And that's definitely the enhancement of the speaking skills. So they started to be original, their own sentences, sometimes maybe not correct, but belonging to them. Thank you very much. By the way, I didn't notice much information about the analysis. You mentioned t-test, SPSS. In your poster, there is not much about it, but it's a valuable element that makes credible and you increase the value of your research. You should have
we
inserted
are getting
it.
ready to publish it. We are working on it.
Yeah. You saved it for later. Okay.
Yes.
Then great job to and Zaki, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Ella. He is an amazing student. They also have this kind of research courses. They are learning about the research ways of doing elaborate, higher kind of research. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ella, for your question as well. And there is a question by Pisambar in the chat box. First a comment and then a question. He says that the term constructive feedback is vague. So this is for Seki. Yes. Could you specify what particular constructive feedback you used in your exploratory action research? And how can you specify the term constructive in this context?
It was based on the work done by Highlands and Highlands. In their work, they were giving their students corrective feedback in their written exams. And I wanted to modify it to speaking performances. And in their paper, they mentioned 3 forms of feedback, which were supportive, constructive, and critical feedback. In their supportive feedback is basically the teacher is praising and encouraging, using encouraging comments to help build students' confidence. And constructive feedback is more focused on specific areas of one's language, skill, and it provided explanations for the areas that require treatment. And critical feedback was the correction that required teachers to point out to errors more directly, and as it often has focused in a negative manner. And out of these three, I thought that constructive feedback was more suitable for my students because I didn't want to be negative. I didn't want to stop encourage them. I didn't want to decrease their motivation. And supportive feedback like seemed like it wasn't suitable for young adult learners. So I thought constructive feedback was good choice for this work.
Okay,
And
thank you.
Okay.
Okay. No, go ahead. I thought you had finished. Okay.
In order to choose which constructive feedback form they like, not which feedback form they choose, I use the questionnaires to see their preferences, and most of my students agreed with the feedback, so I thought constructive feedback was good for this choice.
Okay,
I tailored them according to their preferences.
Okay, well, thank you, Seki. And I think you are in part answering Elodie's comment and question. She's asking whether feedback or personalized feedback was positive and negative or just positive. So I think that you highlighted the positive side, to motivate students.
When I was delivering the feedback, I tried to be less negative because since I'm a recently new teacher, I was a student once. So, I can understand, feel their emotions. So I try to be more positive. And with the chatbot, I instructed it to be more constructive as well. So AI chatbot started to compliment and use encouraging words to students. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Seki. Eric, you have a question, so please put it forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ruben. And thanks the organizing committee for making this happen. I feel very excited being here again this year. I don't think it's a question, it's a comment. It's a comment I want to make. And I want to hail the efforts of Zeki, who's involved in investigating how the effectiveness of feedback in language teaching. For a teacher research project, which might not need a rigorous methodology and a long duration study, I think this is something we need to applaud his efforts because it helps him establish some kind of hypothesis or grounded knowledge on how feedback might be useful in the classroom. Because if you really want to investigate and understand the effectiveness of feedback, you might be involved in an experimental design, an experimental study. While you have a control group and a non-control group, a group treated with one form of feedback or none.
I'm afraid we cannot hear you very well, Eric.
Another group treated to no feedback at all. So you measure the effectiveness upon a period of time to be able to. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Now, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, Eric.
Can you hear me now? Okay, I was saying that. Yes, I was saying that for an exploratory teacher research like this, we need to hail Zeki's efforts because it enables him to establish some grounded knowledge on how feedback can be manipulated in the classroom to enhance learning. We need to committee's efforts on this. But I was saying that in a more rigorous academic research, if you really want to understand the effectiveness of feedback, you might have to get involved in an experimental design. And if you get in an experimental design, you might have a control group and a non-control group at the starting point, and one group treated to a form of feedback or none at all, and the other one treated to a particular kind of feedback or different forms of feedback. And across time, you weigh how their performance has changed from the starting point, from zero up to the point which you complete the study. And I would say that this is something more useful in a more rigorous academic study. But for a teacher research, which is intended to shift pedagogical perspectives and improve pedagogical beliefs, I think what Zeki has done is something we need to give him a pat on the back for. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Eric. Well, we have a question by Al-Haji. Yes, one for Brenda. She asks, what do you refer to rely on prepared material during exams? And what set of students did you collect? I don't know, the question is incomplete. Probably what set of students did you collect the information from? Probably, I am guessing. Okay, so the question is, what do you refer to rely on prepared materials during exams? That is for Brenda.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, Brenda.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Brenda, we can hear you.
Okay, what I mean here by prepared materials, that is during learning, when students prepare for exams, there is what we call here summary. So as when they read and make those summaries, some of them take them rather into the exam hall. And like I said, I was using 12th grade students, that is art students, because during the pre-mock, which is like a preparation for the final or the summative exams, for them going into university, some of them were still using those summaries while writing.
Okay, thank you, Brenda, for your answer. And we have one more question by Boykanov. And this is a question I also have for Salome. Yes, it says, what he or she would like to know what type of idiom you are referring to. What types of idiom do you mean? When you say idiom, what are you specifically referring to, Salome? Thank you. This is for Salome. Yes, or Salome?
Okay, what kind of idioms do I mean? It's actually all idioms. They are required to respond to questions on idioms in the international exams, and they have to respond using a narrative essay. So all types of idioms, we treat as many as we can from the first year in senior secondary till they get to final year.
Okay, thank you, Salome. Yes. Okay, and yes, Seden, you have a question.
Yeah, I have a question to Mohammed. Mohammed, tell us how this research, doing this kind of exploratory action research, influenced, changed, affected your classroom practice, your teaching practice, or whatever? Or was there any change? Just tell us about it.
Okay, thank you. By the way, hocam, someone asked me a question.
I felt that. That's okay. Go on.
First of all, I can say during the initial observation phase, participation was noticeably uneven. A small number of students led most discussions while others remained silent. So this was a little bit frustrating for a teacher when you see. But after the intervention, students felt more comfortable while they are speaking. Discussions became more balanced. Silent students began contributing more frequently. These things made me happier because we all want an even discussion platform in our classes. So that was good. That felt me a little bit happier.
Satisfied, more enjoyed, right? Okay, I can see that. Good study, Mohammed. Congratulations.
Okay. If there are, are there any other questions that you'd like to share in the chat box or just mention it here? Okay, well, so we are finishing the session because Rashu is not here, right? So this would be we are finishing this session number 1 in room 1 a bit earlier, so you will have a longer break, right? And then you may join session 2 in the 3 rooms. Remember that there are 3 rooms, room 1, 2, and 3. So you may choose, if you go to the program or to the program overview, just by clicking on the room, you get the Zoom link. Okay, so you may choose to move to the different rooms as well, room 2 and 3 as well, right? I am sharing in the chat box the link for the certificate. Yeah. Okay. And then also, well, let me see. Okay, that's it. And the second link is the link, the feedback form. Yes, so we would appreciate having your feedback. Also, the organizing committee, yes, will appreciate this a lot. And let me share a third link. Just a second. Which is the attendance form. Yeah. So this is very important as well. Okay. So.
Ruben, I think we will be filling the attendance form as the session airs.
Sorry, Seden?
I think we need to keep attendance as session chairs.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah. So maybe, well, you should please complete the attendance form as well. Yes. Okay. And well, so thank you again. Thank you, Nataliia. Thank you, Seden, for guiding your mentees, the teachers. It has been great listening to all the presentations and with all topics that maybe we have come across as teachers in our classroom sometime, but maybe we have not taken the time to explore these topics specifically, probably some others. So these are, I think these presentations inspired us to do something else in this line, yes, and reading more, and also maybe being in contact with these teacher researchers to see how they are progressing with their exploration and research. So, and well, and most importantly is that this is reflected in students' learning, okay, which are our children, let's say, yes, right. So it's great. It's great because it shows that you are working, yes, to benefit students, to make learning, yes, a good experience for them. Yes. So thank you very much. Thank you
Sorry,
to all.
Ruben, we can't see the links.
Yes.
Can't you? Oh. Wait a minute. Because there was some change here. So, okay. So I go again. All right. Okay, off we go. Okay, so can you see it now? This is for the certificates.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, okay. Now I will share the other one for the feedback form. So if you could please provide feedback, we value that a lot. Okay, so the second one is the feedback form, and the third one is the attendance Google form. I am sharing the link right now. Yeah. Okay, that's it. So now you have the three links. Okay. So don't forget to complete all of them. Yes, so that you get your certificate. To provide feedback, because we appreciate that a lot, and also the attendance. Yeah, because that is connected with with issuing the certificate as well. Okay. Well. So join session 2, yes, which is starting at 2:45 p.m. GMT. So you may have a break now, and well, we are looking forward to listening to all the other presentations. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ruben. Thank you very
Ruben.
much, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. Thank you. Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you all.
See you later.
Just a short comment on the attendance. Well, I opened up the link that you shared with us about the attendance, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that particular form to be filled by chairs. So I don't think that our presenters or participants will be filling it in, because the information on that form asks to chair to report back on missing presenters, something like that. So no problem that we shared it with the participants, but I think that they won't be able to fill it in anyway. So no problem, but just I looked through it. Yeah, that's for chairs for us. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ella. Yeah, for your
Yeah, I
observation.
I saved up links for my own use tomorrow, but then I opened them up and I found out. So yeah, it's good to know now for me as well, Ruben.
Which one? No, but no, we have this for the certificate.
Certificate, yes, and for the feedback, yes, but for attendance, the one that ask chairs to report back to the organizing committee which presenters couldn't join, like that, something like that.
Okay. Well, okay. this was to be shared anyway, but I will ask. Okay, thank you, Ella, for your comments.
Hello, Ruben. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, actually, I was filling the attendance form, so it was asking your session chair. So it's you, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken, it was you, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes, you were the session chair, and it asks also to write the absentee's mentor. So I'm a little confused. Who should I write about?
No, maybe Vanita, Sydney, you can help me here because I am sharing the links that are in the Google Doc.
Excuse me, Ruben, are you a chair?
Yes.
Dear participants, I think that the attendance form is to be filled by the chairs, not by the participants.
All right.
You can
Then.
disregard
Thank you
it
then.
completely. Yes, that's to
Okay,
be
okay.
filled
Thank
by
you.
the chairs, right? So
Thank you
just
then. Thank you.
disregard it for now.
Okay,
All right.
Don't worry. I will take care. Okay.
So
Well,
how do I get to other sessions now?
Maybe you can stop recording. Or shall
One moment, Ruben. This feedback form, is it just for this morning's, I mean, this particular 2-hour session, or are we filling this feedback for the entire conference? Because it asks you which session inspired you the most. Of course, from these few sessions, I can pick one, but yeah.
Yes, that's right.
So should it be for only this particular sessions, or is it the entire
Maybe
conference?
for this one or the other sessions. You will get the form anyway for the other sessions.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Thank you. Cheers.
Okay. Well, Vanita, Sydney, shall I stop the recording? Maybe.